Nigerian economic performance in 2021 has been described as economic players as a mixed bag owing to the setback suffered as a result of the global pandemic that affected the world's financial space. The macroeconomic sector, which played a key role in the nation's business environment, had its feet dragged for a while due to the double-digit inflation rate, uncertainty in the foreign exchange market, gross domestic product growth performance, and deficit in balance of trade. Not deterred by these assumptions, the fiscal authority embarked on various policy performance with a view to set the domestic economy in recovery and growth path, as well as encourage foreign portfolio investment. While the intervention from the monetary and fiscal authorities accelerated GDP growth rate for 4 consecutive times since the country's exit from recession, the nation's economy has been on the recovery path. How can this recovery be sustained? What should key players do to ensure the improvement in 2022? This and more will be our focus on Panorama today, reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. I am Kendi at ABC. Thanks for joining us. Let's begin with a daily update of COVID-19. The daily update in cases of COVID-19 by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control as at the 27th of December 2021 shows that there are 859 new cases from 14 states of the Federation, including the FCT, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 238,420. Breakdown of the new figures shows Lagos with a lead with 555 cases, followed by the FCT with 57 cases. Rivers had 44 cases, Plateau 43, Edo 1, Ondo 34, Kwara 23, Kano 18, Ogun 16, Enugu 11, Oyo 6, Delta 5, while Bauchi and Bayelsa have 3 cases each. So far, there are a total of 212,770 discharged cases, while 3,024 deaths have been recorded across the country. Religion in Nigeria often plays a very important role in the success or otherwise of a policy or appealing to the minds of the people. The truism in this statement came to the fore in Nigeria COVID-19 story so far, just as Abdullahi Ajia tells us more in this report.
Going by available records and statistics, the Nigerian COVID-19 experience is one that has been managed with utmost professionalism, citizens' involvement, and stakeholders' collaboration, cutting across all sectors, with the religious institution playing a key role in containing the virus. Nigeria, not an exception to the global virus attack, strategically moved in motion critical institutions on what needed to be done. Once upon a time, restrictions, new measures, social distancing, and decisions taken by government affected humanity, including the mode of worship and relationships.
In our worship services, we regularly remind our members to maintain the protocols, and also we try to keep to the protocols in terms of the time we spend in church, in terms of social distancing.
So we have engaged them by telling them they should obey those authorities, those that have the medical know-how.
While quickly adjusting to the new normal, religious leaders of both the Christian and Islamic faith have joined in the aggressive sensitization through their respective sermons and teachings.
Majority will start example with the Masjid An-Nur and the FCT imams. They have sat down times without number with the FCT minister and the experts in the health department. They have brought so many suggestions and steps to be followed.
It didn't just stop there. The Temple of God was temporarily shut down, with adherents forced to worshiping their Creator from home and hearts for survival and intervention. Upon the discovery of the COVID-19 vaccine, the role of the religious leaders and worship centers became more demanding, considering myths surrounding the vaccines and its rejection. However, the preaching on the pulpit helped a great deal. The success story so far will not be complete without a special mention of the spiritual and psychological assistance provided by the religious institution. Today, the worship centers have extended their support to allowing a vaccination center within their premises, which gives a boost to the vaccination success story. Abdullah Hajia, NTA News.
Component of the Nigerian Armed Forces and the Nigerian Navy is expected to protect the nation's maritime domain and expand the frontiers of Nigeria's economic engagement across the international waters. Year 2021 witnessed a major stride in this direction as the Nigerian Navy leveraged local and international synergy to drive the achievement of its core mandates. Adeni Tao completes the report.
In the pursuit of its constitutional mandate, the Nigerian Navy acquired and deployed both tangible and intangible naval assets in year 2021, ahead of 6 new naval ships, a fighter helicopter, and 118 inshore patrol craft, fast patrol boats of various categories, recently inducted into the naval fleet by President Muhammadu Buhari. The nation's hydrographic survey ship, NNS Lano, dropped anchor in the waters of the Western Naval Command in May 2021 for the purpose of charting and mapping the waters.
Where we get patronage from the Gulf of Guinea and other countries as may be, will render such service, of course, at a cost. It is a revenue generation asset to the country.
At the Western Naval Command, Apapa Lagos, Nigerian Navy's international cooperation and engagement for the purpose of protecting the Gulf of Guinea and Nigeria's economic interest was demonstrated by a total of 8 port calls by foreign navies to the flag officer commanding, while the Navy was active in leading joint operations against economic criminals on the domestic front through platforms such as the Deep Blue Project and Operation Awati.
We are looking at exchange programs. We are looking at any way we can develop capacity, both ways, for us to collaborate and be able to expand our capacity.
In the outgoing year, the Navy was emphatic in its readiness to give pirates and other sea criminals bloody nose by securing conviction of 10 sea pirates in July under the provision of the Suppression of Piracy and Other Maritime Offences Act 2019. More of this laudable achievement will definitely be witnessed in the coming year as additional naval assets, including NNS Oji, a Seaworld Defence Boat 3, constructed by the Naval Dockyard Limited, take to the sea for operations with high expectations.
We are looking forward to building bigger ships that will be able to patrol in our exclusive economic zones.
For the Nigerian Navy, the sun has already set on year 2021. In 2022, it is onward together again. In Lagos, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
Few days after the Nigeria Customs Service announced the interception of 14 trailer load of imported rice from different parts of Ogun State, operatives of Semi-Command of the service have intercepted a container filled with items suspected to be tramadol capsules. Adeni Taiwo completes the report.
100 cartons of the items suspected to be tramadol capsules were concealed inside 200 packs of jumbo-sized adult diapers in a 1x20-foot container weighing 360 kilograms. The capsules and the diapers have a combined duty-paid value of 1,447,927,015 naira. Parading the items, the Customs Area Controller BM Jibo said the container with mark number MRKU 9090415 was handed over to the Semi-Command on November 15, 2021 by the Republic of Benin authorities under transit to Nigeria. He added that the service invited other security agencies and stakeholders to witness the examination of the container on December 20, as no importer or his representative had come forward to continue the process of clearance procedure. Samples of the items have been handed over to National Agency for Food Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to ascertain and confirm the drugs, while the command has also initiated a full-scale investigation to fish out those involved in the illicit importation. The area controller warned criminals to desist as officers and men of the command are not losing guards at ensuring that smuggling under any guise is brought to the barest minimum. In Lagos, Adini Itaiwo, NTA News.
Still on security matters, the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency has intercepted illicit drugs and substances in Lagos. This is a proof of the agency's determination to rid the country of harmful products.
Desperate bids by drug cartels to push out millions of illicit drug tablets across Lagos and other parts of the country for the festive season have been frustrated by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, with the seizure of 8,381,600 capsules and tablets of tramadol, as well as 56,782 bottles of codeine, among others, in major raids in Lagos State. Following tasking surveillance in a notorious neighborhood at Alaba area of Lagos, one Surajo Mohammed was arrested with 941.14 kilograms cannabis, while 56,782 bottles of codeine were seized from the store of another drug law still at large. In another development, an outbound passenger to Italy on Turkish airline Ovire Cyril has also been arrested with 114 wraps of heroin with a gross weight of 1.80 kilograms during routine search at departure hall of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos. Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, NDLEA, Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, assured that his leadership will remain focused and always aspire to surpass previous feats.
You're still watching Panorama on the network service of the NTA. Let's take a short break. We'll be back shortly.
Coronavirus is real. Steps to avoid this pandemic. Wash your hands regularly or sanitize your hands. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Stay at home unless absolutely necessary. Don't touch your eyes, nose, or mouth if your hands are not clean. Avoid the spread of coronavirus. Coronavirus is real.
Glad to know that you're still there. A lot has happened in Nigeria's digital space in the year 2021, as the federal government is doing everything possible to make the country a technologically driven economy. ICT correspondent Joseph Johnson brings us a major highlight of event by the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy in the year under review.
It appears one can't really talk about the nation's relatively flourishing digital space without mentioning the year 2020, which brought about increased attention turned to the sector for ease of navigating the coronavirus pandemic times. It is no longer news that in the same year, the sector soared on the GDP of the country as it recorded the fastest growing sector of the economy, a feat which many say gave 2021 a promising look. But just as the new year under review was being welcomed, the incessant cases of insecurity in Nigeria, among other issues, necessitated the need for the ICT sector to once again rise to the challenge of proffering digital solutions, which saw the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, fast-tracking the exercise of NIM-SIM linkage. The Commission, as at December 2021, says it has so far issued 70 million unique NINs.
In this digital era, that you need a mobile phone, you need also a digital account, and then the identity is the foundation that determines the people that will also make the digital economy works properly.
The issue of fifth generation, also known as 5G, was also identified as critical to the digital Nigeria's quest. The Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy doubled efforts in consultations and research to ascertain the suitability of the technology in the country. A mock and main auction of 5G spectrums were held respectively by the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) ahead of the deployment come 2022. The year also witnessed increased collaborations and inauguration of multiple digital economy projects.
If you look at the statistics, only ICT sector has the growth rate of double digits. Most of the other sectors, even the growth rate is single, but in our own case, double digit growth. All these things are really encouraging. And in 2022, our plan is to consolidate the achievement of the previous years and also try to see how we can increase our contribution to GDP, how we can provide the digital skills to our citizens, and how we can make our digital economy to be the greatest, not only and the biggest, not only in Africa but including other continents.
With our 160.593 billion 2022 budget for the ministry and plans on top gear for the deployment of 5G technology in the first month of the year, there are indications that 2022 also looks promising for the communications sector. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
The Nigerian economy is on recovery path as it's recorded accelerated GDP growth for 4 consecutive times since the country exited recession. Ingino John examines the performance of the economy in 2021.
2021 fiscal year in Nigeria began with a backlog of challenges occasioned by shutdown of the global economy caused by the coronavirus pandemic. This slowed down full implementation of the 13.6 trillion naira 2021 budget in critical sectors of the economy. The macroeconomic sector, which plays a critical role in the nation's business environment, had its feet dragged due to double-digit inflation rate, which rose to 18.71% in March and later declined to 15.4% in November. Uncertainty in the foreign exchange market, gross domestic product growth performance, and deficit in balance of trade also stood against the economy. These 4 pillars of economic assessment, coupled with the COVID-19 pandemic, raised several assumptions on possible GDP growth. Not deterred by these assumptions, the fiscal authorities embarked on various policy reforms with a view to set the domestic economy on recovery and growth path. These interventions accelerated GDP growth for 4 consecutive times since the country exited recession in the 4th quarter of 2021. To further record a decline in inflation in 2022 fiscal year, experts say government should boost productivity to drive output as well as minimize the monetization of fiscal deficits. In Lagos, Hingino John, NTA News.
To further discuss Nigeria's performance in the economic sector in the year 2021 is an economist and MD, Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise, Mr. Muda Yusuf. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Straight to the questions. What would you say was the performance of Nigeria's economy in the year 2021, especially amidst the COVID-19 pandemic and all the assumptions?
Well, the performance was fairly okay, especially when we compare it with what happened in 2020. 2020 was really very bad. And even from your background reports, we could see that there has been an incremental positive performance in GDP growth. We had in Q1 0.5%, in Q2 we had 5%, in Q3 we have 4%. Yes. I think that is very good. And these are also reflections of the fact that economic activities are beginning to pick up. The impact of COVID is beginning to dissipate. You know, the impact was not as severe as what we had in 2020. And many of the sectors that were under lockdown restrictions, all of those things are beginning to ease, not just only within our own domestic economy, but globally. And if you look at the external sector, the oil price is also looking good, which also impacted positively on the economy in 2021. Yes. And global value chain is also is becoming a bit normalized and all of that. So generally, the performance in 2021, at least on the score of the GDP and the resumption of economic activities, was okay. Right. Of course, we had challenges. Yes. We have challenges in the area of insecurity. We have challenges in the area of some macroeconomic variables. Yes. Key among these was the challenge of inflation. Mm-hmm.
Okay, before we go to that, sir, yes. I would like to ask you, despite all the challenges, before we talk about that, there were some interventions by the federal government, monetary interventions for small-scale enterprises and all of that. Do you think these also contributed to what we see now in our nation's economy?
Of course. The impact of the intervention, both from the monetary side and the fiscal side, yes. also contributed because we had the economic recovery and growth plan, yes. And within the context of that plan, we had an expenditure of over about 2.3 trillion, which also helped to, stimulate the economy back to life. The CBN was also very bullish in its intervention from the development finance side, supporting agriculture, supporting the real sector, and all of that. So all those factors also contributed, to the recovery that we saw in 2021.
All right, so taking you back to your earlier view now, you talked about some of the issues we had, insecurity as one of them. Yes, there were critical moments in our nation's economy this year. So what were some of the things we did that helped us, so to say?
Well, first to identify the challenges. First, we had this very serious challenge of the inflationary pressure, which affected both the household, I'm talking of individuals now, that's talking about their welfare, yes. And the implications for purchasing power, implications for poverty. It also has implications also for businesses, cost of production, profit margins, sustainability of business, capacity to create jobs, and all of that. So the inflationary situation was one major issue.
Yes, we really don't have so much time, but before I let you go, I would like you to just say something briefly projected into the year 2022.
Well, 2022, the outlook is positive. We look at all the key fundamentals, the positive outlook in oil price, the fact that economies around the world are already beginning to pick up, and the fact that even the domestic economy is already beginning to pick up. So, although there are still issues that we need to deal with, but the outlook is fairly positive.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. I've been speaking with Mr. Muda Yusuf. He is the MD promotion of private enterprises. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you. Thank you,
sir. All right, Sports Update is next.
The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has approved the use of video assistant referee at the 2022 AFCON in Cameroon. CAF made use of the VAR for the first time at an international tournament at the 2019 AFCON held in Egypt, but only at the knockout stage. But it will be used in all the 52 matches of the 2022 AFCON. In the Nigerian Professional Football League, table toppers Remo Stars will have another opportunity to hold on to the first position when the team hosts Nasarawa United in match day 3 of the league scheduled for Wednesday. Other matches included Shooting Stars of Ibadan playing away to Lobby Stars. Enyimba will hope to continue its impressive runs with a date with Rivers United as Castina United host Kano Pillars, among other matches. In the English Premier League, Cavani came off the bench to rescue Manchester United from defeat Monday night in a match that ended 1 apiece with Newcastle United. Matches slated for Tuesday are Crystal Palace against Norwich City, Watford will host West Ham United, while Leicester City will host Liverpool, among other matches. And on a sad note, Algerian footballer Sofiane Luka passed away during a second-tier league match between Malouda and ASM Oran on Monday. The player collapsed during the game, but all efforts to save him failed. Meanwhile, it was a thrilling outing in boxing at the 12th edition of the Governor's Belt 2021, held at Molade Okoya Thomas Hall, Teslim Balogun Stadium in Lagos Observing all COVID-19 protocols, outstanding performances were showcased. Shitu Afolabi of Callisto Boxing Club was the best.
And we give them the opportunity in an exhibition to get a feel for what it's like performing in front of a crowd.
I have seen development of boxing for youths in this country. You go all over the world, you see various sports, especially boxing, that is being encouraged.
A total of 10 bouts featured, including the juniors exhibition fights. With sports update, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
And that's all on Panorama. Stay tuned to the NTA for more updates happening around the world. I am Kendi at ABC. Many thanks for watching.